everyone. This is Alex, Tom's oldest daughter from Two Dads Talking. Thanks for listening to my daddy and his friend Doug's podcast. And please like, share, and subscribe to this. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to an impromptu, spontaneous version of Two Dads Talking. We skipped recording last night because I was a big sissy puss and I got sick with a sore throat, didn't want to record. And tonight we're saying, screw it, we're recording anyway. I may sound worse than usual, but I'll pay the price tomorrow and it'll be fine. And Doug will 100% be the smarter one tonight. It will be undisputed and finally proven my brain is operating at like 60% capacity. So we're going to settle it all tonight, okay. And you're going to be the smart one, and it's going to be over with.
It's bad math. 60% does not mean 100% for me.
Listen, 1 times 1 equals 2, as we'll discuss next week.
I'm not sure we can handle both of us being little sissy pusses at the same time.
Some exciting spoilers before we dig into the topic that we literally chose 7 minutes ago and haven't really done much research on.
That's the best
spoilers. That is the best part. This will probably release right around Father's Day, is my guess, based on how many weeks ahead we are. We will have a line of T-shirts that we're selling for Father's Day that I've been working on with someone for about a week now, and they will certainly be done and for sale. So get your dad something from our store. We'll have dad jokes. We'll have some slogans. We'll have some fun stuff. But I promise we'll have some funny ones that dad will like if he likes dad jokes. So take a look at the store, look at the merchandise link. Next week, we are going to attempt to do our first video, our first reaction video and real video. It's going to be exciting. Maybe Doug will wear his pink Two Dads Talking t-shirt like he's wearing right now, like a good sport. It'll be a good time. But we will have our first video done next week.
I might have to wear it. So I was telling Tom earlier that I have very few pink things for clothing articles and or accessories. I now have one pink thing, and I wish he had consulted me before just ordering this behind my back, because now I'm only going to wear it on the internet where everyone can see. I'm not going to wear it in public unless I probably have to. The other thing that I told Tom just earlier tonight was, as much as I already don't like pink and as much as I think it doesn't look good on me, there's something extra insulting about the tag saying pink XL. Just you're an extra large Kirby tonight / whenever you wear this.
I can't believe that you're such a hater on the color pink.
Pink is for really skinny dudes who drink a Gatorade when everyone else has a beer in their hand.
I disagree.
Well, I might be a little sissy puss. I am not that far on that end of the idea.
My poor uncultured friend. Pink is going to be Doug's new obsession. It's not even a question. Pink's on the lips of his lover, because pink is the love he'll discover.
What episode are we on? I feel like you should not be expecting culture from me at this point.
Well, I'm quoting Steven Tyler, the great poet Steven Tyler, right now, and I feel like that'll count for something. If he's on board with pink, then we should be on board with pink. I will be including the YouTube video to Aerosmith's song "Pink" on this episode, so we can link that up there and people can enjoy. That's
fine. Aerosmith is good. I like Aerosmith. I'll support them, just not out in public. I said I'll wear this for the internet to see, but I won't wear it for 5 people who see me in real life to see.
I just remember that music video being very bizarre, like Steven Tyler in a woman's dress and with rabbit ears, and I just remember that being a very bizarre video.
Speaking of uncultured, I think I've seen exactly 4 music videos in my life.
Oh, man.
It's been more than that, but I basically logged them as, a music video? That's stupid because it's music. Why would I watch a video when it's music? And so I just didn't put any of it in the old brain.
Have you ever been Rickrolled?
Once.
Okay. All right.
Don't do it.
25%.
Don't do it. It's going to take too long. There's going to be too much editing.
I won't do that one right now. Maybe later.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's talk about some tacos, huh?
Yeah.
Anything else we have to plug or promote before we jump into this?
I don't know. Well, okay. So last week we said your homework was to just do a review. Didn't have to leave any text or anything like that. I think the homework should stay the same, probably.
It can be the same this week since we did absolutely no prep work this week.
Right.
To explain why we did no prep work this week, we had a topic we thought we were going to do, and we were very excited about it. But it turns out it's going to take a little bit more digging.
I think it'll probably come through on the editing. And so we'll just pump it again for next time. In case you didn't listen to the previous episode yet, which why haven't you? There's a video of Terrence Howard, the actor, the Terrence Howard, and he is just, I don't even know how to describe what he's doing. He's doing the conspiracy theory thing, but I'm not 100% sure what his conspiracy theory is. I think it's just that all of society is geared towards money, and they're intentionally hiding real science and mathematics from you to do that, which I suppose I can agree with if it was just that. But some of the things he says to prove his point are like, excuse me, sir, no, that is patently false. You're breaking your own rules literally mid-sentence. So that's what we're going to try to do a reaction to, because we're not going to do the stupid like, oh, watch this video first, then listen to us.
And it turns out it's like a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old video, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, but that's not that old, really.
Well, I should have seen it by now. With the sort of things I watch on YouTube and the sort of conspiracy theories that I like, the channels that I follow, someone should have brought this to my attention by now. And I'm sad that no one did. And then when I sent it to you, I was like, I honestly expected you to say, Tom, I've seen this. What are you doing? Like, is there just some surprise ending? What's going on here? And when you didn't see it, you hadn't seen it yet, I got very excited. Like, oh, we can talk about this. This will be good.
I mean, I guess I just like, it's one of the, it's not the same, but it's kind of like how I think of music videos. I'm like, oh, conspiracy theory YouTube video with some narrator trying to be all elusive and foreboding. Like, no, I don't want to spend 20 minutes watching something where they don't actually tell you anything. And that's how I view most conspiracy theory videos. So I just don't even bother with them. I have other things to waste my time on. Thank you very much.
Speaking of wasting our time, let's get on topic.
Yes, let's do it. Sorry.
Now we're wasting our listeners' time, and I almost feel bad about that.
Almost. We're close.
It's pretty close.
You do it.
All right.
It is a good headline.
We're just going to jump into the headline here, and then we'll get into the debate. This centers around a matter that's probably close to the heart of many, many people who are, listening to our podcast. If you have ever asked yourself, is a hot dog a sandwich? Is a taco a sandwich? If you've ever gone down that road and you don't just abide by the cube rule, you'll be happy to know that an Indiana judge ruled officially 2 days ago, tacos are Mexican style sandwiches. And we will have this link in the show notes.
Yes, we will. I've already saved it to our little sheet, at least my link.
Okay, so I've got 4 links on mine over here, but I haven't labeled them all. So one of them, I don't know what it is. Oh, I do know. It's so good.
I mean, you could read them because my link says /is-a-taco-a--- So I know what link that is.
YouTube links, and they're shortened versions, so they don't have the actual descriptors in there.
Never.
So to make the story short, there was a condominium area that did not want common national chain fast food restaurants in their development. It was their rule. They were okay with restaurants, but they specifically did not want the typical fast food chains to sort of cheapen it or make it look, the way some people think they make them look. So they didn't want a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Wendy's or probably even an Arby's, even though they've got meat. They specifically wrote this agreement so that it said restaurants were allowed to exist in this condominium area, facility, association, I don't know. They were allowed to have them as long as they were. Oh,
here it is. Sandwich bar style facility that sold made to order or Subway style sandwiches. And it looks like the commitment even mentioned some of those fast food stuff by name to keep them out too.
So this is kind of funny because my hometown, I was telling Doug earlier, I grew up in a little beach community in Westerly, Rhode Island, and they're very much like this. They're very careful about what businesses they let open. They fought having a Starbucks open in this town for decades, and one finally opened last year, and it was quite the big deal when one finally opened. But they really want to preserve that small town feel. They don't want things to feel like they're cookie cutter and it's just another town. there are some towns that really want to preserve this atmosphere. And I think they're probably usually tourist towns, towns that really rely on tourist economies and people visiting. I'm kind of surprised to see this in Indiana because I don't think of anywhere in Indiana as a tourist area.
Well, that's just because you're ignorant.
That's
The proud
quite possibly true.
Indiana has as many big city. Well, no, they don't. I was gonna say when people think of Ohio, who aren't from Ohio, and Ohio is like, one of the more populous states, like above average. People are like, oh, Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and that's really it. Ohioans know of other, decent metro areas, but that's all like outsiders think about. And everyone's heard of Fort Wayne, everyone's heard of Indianapolis. Most people have heard of something like a Notre Dame or of Evansville or other like mid-metro things. So it's not, it's not nothing.
Okay, if you say
They
so.
have culture.
You know what they probably don't have? They probably don't have a team in the playoffs by the time this episode airs. The Pacers are probably done right about now, is my guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. So here's my thing. So I love this just because, well, first of all, obviously a taco is a sandwich. I feel like that's pretty obvious. There's a part of me that's hoping you're disagreeing with me on this.
I so do. Yes.
Yes. Okay. But what I'm trying to figure out is because the first article I found didn't actually say who versus who. Like it sounded like it was what because it was him going against. It said the Fort Wayne like zoning board or zoning commission or whatever.
The
I thought
Allen County Planning Commission. Yep.
So, but I guess did the condo association or did the town or the area or whatever, were they in support of this restaurant or did they go to bat against him and say, well, we wrote this agreement, but not for tacos? That's what I was trying to figure out was are the locals actually happy about this or not? Was really what I was trying to figure out.
Well, I feel like the crux of the matter is very simple. This gentleman, Martin Quintana, built up a strip mall. He wanted this Mexican restaurant there. And somebody fought him and said, nope, you can't have that there. It's too similar to a chain food. We don't want your Mexican food. And this thing actually went to the Allen County Superior Court.
You're probably right. Someone probably complained to zoning. So at least one person was not happy about it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would have never gotten there. So someone certainly complained.
You're probably right.
And then the Superior Court Judge Bobay, I want to call him Bobby, Bobay. I'm sure it's Bobay,
that's what it says.
But I just want to call him Bobby. He gave an official ruling that the opening of the restaurant would be fine, that it was within the constrictions of the original agreement, and that, quote, it would serve made to order tacos, burritos, and other Mexican style food, and that tacos and burritos are Mexican style sandwiches. I really, really dig that a judge put in a law that they're Mexican style sandwiches. Almost as much as I hate the Alabama IVF ruling, I dig this almost as much as I hate that ruling. Like, this is exciting. And then, of course, they were kind enough to also extend this this ruling to cuisine of Greek, Indian, and Vietnamese cultures. They basically also said, you know what else wouldn't violate this? Would be Greek gyros or heroes, however you want to pronounce it.
Gyros. Good
that's
Lord.
How people around here often pronounce it.
And you called me uncultured.
Yeah, I was actually born in Greece. I'm twice as bad for saying that wrong.
Good Greece.
Indian non-wraps and Vietnamese banh mi. So basically the judge issued that this thing was a sandwich and that it can't exist. And kind of also said, hey, if anybody else wants to open up a Greek restaurant, an Indian restaurant, I could go for some banh mi. Go ahead and do that. You've got my approval.
Now's your chance. I've been really wanting some naan recently.
Yep, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This makes me happy. But it opens the can of worms. What is a sandwich? And Doug has already gone on record that a taco is a sandwich.
Kind of.
So what's a sandwich?
So a sandwich in the PG or G version of a sandwich is two pieces of probably bread, some sort of grainy-ish, bread-ish thing that is the medium to transporting whatever else you want into your mouth. Again, I'm sticking with the G version, not the X version of what a sandwich is. Also with your mouth.
Yep. All right. So by your own definition,
So
you said it was transported by two bread substances, and a taco is not. It
I'm
is transported by one.
I am so glad you disagree with me on this. You know why? Because you're going to despise my reasoning for this. You
Okay.
ready?
Well, defend your first
Uh,
contradiction.
I
I'm
s-
waiting on this first one.
no. So a sandwich is two pieces of bread, grainy, whatever, vehicle to your mouth, as I said before.
Should we set a disclaimer? Like when we say
In
bread, we mean any bread item. Like we don't have to specify non versus
Yeah, so it could
just for the sake of discussion.
right.
We're
So it
just going to
could
use the
be
word
naan
bread
or wrap
broadly.
or
Okay.
bread or whatever.
We'll use the word bread very
and where and
broadly.
that's just yes, that's the textbook definition of a sandwich. The reason we would call something a sandwich that doesn't involve bread is mostly just because we're mimicking the form. It's almost like, and I like to say this, almost like a simile. It's like a simile or a metaphor that we just ascribe to help with describing something to the person, but we're not really saying it's a literal sandwich. It just gets taken on that way. Where it gets a little bit murky is when you talk about an open-faced sandwich.
Okay.
Bread, but really it's kind of like saying, well, it normally would be a sandwich, but we're lazy and we didn't put that second piece of bread on there, or we wanted to eat it a different way. So it's not technically a sandwich, but that's the most efficient way linguistic to describe it. Wraps, tacos are not sandwiches, but, and this is where it gets murky, I don't really think that a burger is a sandwich just in the traditional sense. I feel like a burger is a sandwich in the sense that a square is a rectangle. But if you were writing, let's just throw some random hypothetical out there. If you were writing legislation or an agreement
And you
for
were,
a
say, an
community and you
Indiana
said,
court judge and you were writing a piece of legislation.
right, we want to make sure that our rectangles are handmade. Well, you done messed up, Ron. You should have said we want squares only and other rectangles that simulate squares with beef or something like that. You should have gotten way more specific. They should, because to me, burgers definition fall under a sandwich, but they are recognized as sort of a different thing, at least like a niche thing. Most people don't say I want a burger, and you have to clarify that a burger is a specific known thing. So if you're just saying sandwich style, you're opening it up to other options. And even a place like it's just colloquially a place like a Subway or a lot of places serve the hoagie rolls. You could make an argument, at least based on my definition, that they're not sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to call a hoagie thing a sandwich or refer to it as a type of sandwich, then you got to kind of let in the wraps and the tacos, in my opinion. That's
All right,
that's
so
kind
the
of
first definition you gave us,
that's
we
why
moved
it's going to
past
piss
that.
you off.
So you've
Yes.
thrown out your first definition. That was not your true definition then. And we've moved on to this more ambiguous, more vague.
King
A
for a day
sandwich is
moment.
something with bread, is what you're basically telling me right now.
King for a day moment. How I said, like, I probably would still let abortion be legal if I was king for a day, even though, like, in my heart of hearts, I believe it's murder and it's wrong. I know what a sandwich is, but all you people that want to call these other
you do, because the definition you gave contradicts everything you told me after the fact.
all these other people that want to call things sandwiches like wraps and hoagie rolls and all that, I'll let you live. That's
all
fine.
these other people. That's fine. And it's nice that you're gracious
But
to
see,
all those other people. It's nice that you're extending that privilege to them. It's good.
Considering I am king for a day, you are welcome.
But what is the actual definition of a sandwich then? Like I really want one from you.
For me, it's what I told you.
But you just told me some things that don't fit that count as sandwiches.
No, I'm talking about allowing other people to live, like we said.
I don't care about what you're allowing other people. I want
if we talk,
standard.
if I could set how everyone talked, a wrap would not be a sandwich.
That's not what I'm setting. What is
because
your
it's not
definition? I want to know
said what my definition is.
Yes, but then you changed it. You told me a taco is a sandwich, and then you told me that a sandwich is something between two pieces of bread.
You know,
there's not a taco.
At least 25% of our listeners are sitting there going, "Oh my God, they're just talking past each other." I already know what they're. I was saying what my definition is, and then I went on further to say that in the real world, because other people will have varying definitions or beliefs in sandwiches, that for all of us to coexist harmoniously in our sandwich worlds, some people are going to call wraps and hoagies and stuff like that sandwiches, even though they're wrong. because my definition is best. Clearly, obviously, wearing my pink XL shirt, be afraid of me. So my definition of a sandwich is what I think a sandwich actually is. But for the sake of living in society, when someone says a sandwich, I realize they might mean something on a hoagie roll or a wrap or whatever else. And if they're going to mean that, they have to allow tacos.
Yeah, I don't care about their definition.
I know you
just
don't care.
wanted yours. I want to tie you down on your position. You control what you can control, damn it. You can't control everybody else's
Can our editor just take out the last 5 minutes until I finish my sentence and be done with it?
Where's the fun in that?
There's not. We're not here for fun.
All right, so Doug is what we.
What's your definition of a sandwich? Hold on, wait. Can you come down from that soapbox, from that ivory tower, so I can hear you?
No, I'm in your ivory tower. I'm borrowing it for the podcast, and I'm loving it. It's nice in here. There's a big screen TV. There's someone in here waiting to do a petty for my nails. This is nice.
It's just ivory paint. It's not real ivory.
So I am of the. I guess I'm sort of I don't know. I guess I'm a structure neutral kind of guy is what I am. I think that it does have to be a bread delivery device of some sort. And I think that everything that what you're eating has to be on the bread, and not just on it, but, covered by at least two sides. So an open faced sandwich to me is not a sandwich. It's toast. It's toast with toppings.
I agree.
And I'm actually, I look at it very much the way you do, except that I will say a taco is not a sandwich because it doesn't, I don't think that's the case. A part of me is just because tacos deserve better than that. I love a good sandwich, but tacos deserve some damn respect on their names. They really do. And Doug is not putting respect on the taco name. So.
Oh, hold on a second. We were just talking about sandwiches and how other people disrespect tacos by calling them sandwiches.
Yes, and I think that's true. As much as I like sandwiches, calling a taco a sandwich is disrespecting the taco.
If a place is going to say we don't want fast food, we only want made-to-order artisan sandwiches, then you are automatically saying that you want tacos, because tacos are a whole tier above sandwiches when it comes to food products.
Above it, but you're not saying you want that or better. They're saying they just want sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. You know what? We only want White Castle. We don't want Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in our neighborhood.
You know what?
What's that?
In a lot of neighborhoods, that's accurate.
Dinner restaurant. We don't want you. We want White Castle.
In a lot of neighborhoods, that's accurate. Ruth's Chris would not do well in a lot of neighborhoods.
Well, it's not. But you think the neighborhood would say no? We don't want you.
Well, they can't go there anyway. It becomes a slap in the face. If I'm living in a neighborhood and I'm struggling to get by, and the average income in my neighborhood is, say, below the national median, and none of us can afford Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, why would I want to sit there and drive by it and walk by it and look at it every single day knowing I can't afford it?
Well, now you're just taking it personally. You could just use it as like a birthday thing. You could welcome the fact that all the Beamers and those a-holes that drive them are going to bring more money to your local area, and then it'll raise your home values and it'll be fun.
Is that how that works?
And your tacos will taste even better because they'll have to compete now.
The best tacos are often made, I think, by like street trucks, like food trucks. They make the best tacos.
It's true. They're pretty good.
All right. I'm going to welcome you to, I'm going to give you the link here, and we will put this in the notes as well. If anybody hasn't seen cuberule.com, you should go there. So cuberule.com is a lovely website that introduces the cube rule of food identification. And they do a lovely job of saying, as seen in the Webby Awards, the Washington Post, like they call out a couple of courts they've been. And it all started with a conversation of our hot dogs, sandwiches. And they started by trying to define, what a sandwich is. And there was a New York ruling because of taxes and how the taxes worked there. Hot dog vendors didn't want to pay taxes because they said, no, this is not a sandwich. You're telling me that the way it's written is that sandwiches have to pay sales tax. But hot dogs were not listed in that state code. And so hot dog vendors are trying not to pay sales tax.
No, they're saying they are.
Well, the court ruled that they would have to. The court in New York ruled that hot dogs and sausages and things on buns basically counted as sandwiches and had to pay sales tax. But the vendors were trying to say, no, this is not a sandwich. We shouldn't pay sales tax. And that was how this whole thing on a national scale got its start, which is great.
It has wraps. Hoagies.
So if you scroll down this
Heroes,
thing,
Euros are on here.
Euros. So if we scroll down, you see some great social media that they've taken some choice things to put on here about the way it's defined. Is a ravioli a Pop-Tart? Is that what that is? If you scroll down, they have a sandwich alignment chart. And this will
Oh, I
define
see that.
you how you look at sandwiches. And Doug wants to
I'm
be a
probably a
structure
structured
purist,
Oh,
but he is
obviously.
allowing for structure rebels. He's allowing the whole
I'm
scale.
Aristotelian, though. It's all about the forms and the actual physical characteristics
But
of the
you're
world
not
around
holding
me.
anybody else accountable to it. So I don't know how true that is.
Well, because I don't want to get killed by the angry mob of rap idiots. Because I would be in a minute. It'd be
So
like,
if
look for him. He's big and pink. Get him. Get his ass.
So if you haven't gone to cuberule.com, you should, and you should look at this chart.
This is funny because I was going to bring up like ingredients at one point too. That was going to be my next thing to try to get you with was just like, well, do we care what it is? Does it have to be classic?
So what do you think of this chart? I feel like we should give some people who aren't looking at it. You've got it's a horizontal 3x3 chart. On the top is the ingredients going on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, you've got the structure ratings. So you start with structure purist and ingredient purist, and this is what you would think of. A sandwich must have a classic sandwich shape, 2 pieces of bread with toppings in between. And then the ingredient purist also believes that the toppings have to include meat, cheese, lettuce, condiments. Okay. If you go one step to the right, still a structure purist, but ingredient neutral, they start allowing for a much broader scope of ingredients. The example they give here is a chip buddy, which looks like French fries between 2 pieces of bread with ketchup. That's interesting. I've never seen one of those.
I don't think they would allow this and that.
It must be a British thing. Yeah, I don't know. And then you have ingredient rebel to the far right. You're a structure purist, but you're an ingredient rebel. So it still has to have the classic sandwich shape. Everything has to be in between, but it can contain literally any food products. So in this case, they list an ice cream between waffles as a sandwich. And yeah, that's an ice cream sandwich, right? That's what that is. If you go down the y-axis, you've got structure neutral, which loosens up a little bit and allows for hoagie rolls or grinder rolls, we call them in New England. It allows for hot dog buns. It allows for hard taco shells. And then structure rebel on the bottom can be any food enveloped in any way by a containing food. So this is where you have like chicken wraps and burritos, and the far right extreme with radical sandwich anarchy says a Pop-Tart is a sandwich. I guess a tortellini is a sandwich. And, there's some interesting ways you can go with that. So Doug is a structure purist, probably in the ingredient rebel category, but he allows for all of us heathens who want to be somewhere else on that scale, which is nice. It's good.
No, I'm probably more ingredient neutral.
You think
because so here's a good example for the ingredient rebel would say that an ice cream sandwich is actually like a true sandwich. But to me, that's just a dessert.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, to me, the ice cream sandwich, just because you can handle it manually like a sandwich, there are plenty of desserts that come like framed with graham crackers and have a bunch of like ice cream and junk in the middle of it, and no one calls that a sandwich. So I think most people recognize a certain style of ingredient. Part of the reason the hot dog debate was so big was because I think hot dog is at least vaguely a meat. And so I think that was part of what muddied the waters. Because most people think salami, ham, turkey, like meats go on sandwiches. So you have bread and you have a meat. And I think that's why it was, blue or gold dress level furor.
Sure. No, that makes sense. All right. So we're going to scroll down cuberule.com a little further. Yeah. And this is where we actually get the cube rule.
I did encounter this, but I didn't make the association before. So
the cube rule is a fantastic visual device to help identify and categorize. And there's literally just a cube. And it's got a certain number of sides colored in, and the rest of them are transparent as though they don't exist. Number 1 is just the bottom square of the cube, and that's toast. The second one is the bottom and the top, and it's sandwich. The next one is the 2 outside and the bottom, that's taco, etc., etc. And it defines these things as toast, sandwich, taco. All encasing, except the ends, is sushi. All encasing except the top one is a soup salad with bread bowl. So it's a bread bowl, or, that's what that is. And then wrapped all the way around, everything's covered, they consider a calzone. And it allows you to identify any food purely by the location of the structural starch, as they call it. So, toast. That's just bread on the bottom. So, pizza is a toast. If you do a sushi roll on rice, it's not wrapped in the rice, it's just on it. That's toast. They use a pie, pumpkin pie slice, because the bread's only on one side. That's toast. And they go through and they've got some good examples for each of these. So, a quesadilla is a sandwich. A taco, a sub sandwich, as we call them, or a grinder in New England, a slice of pie that also has the pie bread on top, a hot dog, those are tacos. Sushi has some good ones. Pigs in a blanket, sushi. Enchilada, sushi. Quiche is what they go with for the bread bowl thing. They just summarize it as a quiche, and that one's, mostly what you'd expect. But they've got like a whole different category. Like deep dish pizza is a quiche, and certain types of pies. And then a calzone. A corn dog is a calzone, and I love that. A Pop-Tart is a calzone.
And a burrito.
And a burrito is a calzone. Yes, I guess it's a Mexican-style calzone.
I guess. Yeah. I hate this rule.
I love this rule because it goes even further, and it gives you zero starchy
salad
borders. Steak, mashed potatoes, flan. These are all salads.
Yeah. Well, and cake is just tears, so a Big Mac is a cake. You know what this is? This is a gigantic troll. Someone found yet another nice little subtle medium into the debate and just decided to troll the crap out of everybody. Because you know what this is? All this is really? This is a structural purist and a rebel ingredient. That's all this is.
Yeah.
This is someone who already fits in the spectrum.
But this is not such a great job. It's such a beautiful representation.
This is not a new thing. This is how I feel. This last thing that they included at the bottom, someone tweeted that said humans are just ravioli. I think that's the perfect satire to this entire debate. Oh, we're ravioli.
I like the vanilla soy latte one. That's the one that I like. A vanilla soy latte is a 3-bean wet salad.
Rice, you are free to interpret the nature of rice however you wish.
And they gave people credit. Like they actually link people that they take posts from and give them credit. And it's a beautiful representation. And this is someone who took something silly and possibly unimportant,
made it stupider,
and went way out of their way to do it justice and do a beautiful job with it. This website is the mantra. If you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability. Fulfilled. That's what this is. I
guess rice is just a calzone because it's not like a corn dog has any space between it either.
Well, the rice isn't surrounding anything though.
But the rice is but the rice is surrounding itself. Otherwise, rice is a salad.
Interesting.
Rice is either a salad or a calzone. I'd argue it's a calzone because a corn dog, people want to talk about the dog in the middle being part of it, but really this is all based on structure. So really a corn dog is just one solid item. There's no space. There's no air between any of it. There's even a little bit of air in a burrito or a pie or whatever else. There's pretty much none in a corn dog. You could argue like a corn bread is spongy, but that's...
No, I think it counts as a calzone. I think it's got a meat filling is what makes it a calzone. The hot dog is a meat filling, and there's no filling in the rice. The
calzone requires two different things.
Does it? Oh, I
to
didn't
comprise
see that
it.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't say that, but it's the whole point of the cube rule is that there are at least two ingredients because there's one thing enclosing another ingredient in some way.
Well, that's why the rice is, identified on its own. You've got liberty to interpret the rice as you would please.
Yeah, but see, this is okay. So what's a carrot? The same as rice.
Probably the same as rice. A carrot is rice. Yeah.
What's broccoli?
Well, you know what?
The same as rice.
There's no bread involved in the carrot, so it doesn't count, I guess. These are all, well, no, that doesn't work because they've got steak on here and they've got chocolate on here and they've got soup, the wet salad.
So then it would have to be a salad.
Yeah. I think it would have to be a salad.
There's no bread and flan.
Or maybe it's rice. Maybe it's the same as rice. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, I've never gone this deep on this before, but I love this website now even more than I did before.
I think the biggest problem is that humans are just ravioli only had 47 likes.
Well, I'm sure it's got more now. I'm sure if we click on that link and we go to that X profile, which one is it?
They have the tweets referenced at the bottom too. That's good.
Yeah, I love that. They gave him credit.
Yeah. I'll give them credit for that.
But I don't see the human or just ravioli one on here.
It's at the very bottom.
Well, I just don't see the reference link for it. I've clicked all 4 of these, and
I
none of
clicked
them
on
brings me
the
there.
I clicked on the tweet itself,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah, I
it
didn't go that
says,
deep.
but then it says to sign in. You
This
know,
makes me happy.
you know what I think? We have talked about abortion and like capital punishment and politics and presidential candidates and in vitro fertilization and everything else. And you know what's actually going to get us canceled? Wow. Wait, you used to listen to them too? Yeah, man. After the cube rule, I just couldn't see them as real people anymore. I had to get out of there. Me too.
Yeah, somewhere in here we just went too far.
Fuckers, it's a sushi,
And it won't be the humans or ravioli. That's not going to be what it is. It's going to be a taco as a sandwich, yes or no. And that's what's going to do it for people.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. That's what really drives us. Oh, what's that? You have criminal history, you're on Dateline, but what do you think a sandwich is? Right answers only.
I feel like this would be a good thing for us to draft.
Which part?
Sure. How do we break this up? No, we don't want to just call it sandwiches. But somewhere we got to have tacos and subs and cheeseburgers, and maybe there's a draft topic there.
So here's my question. You never gave your definition of a sandwich.
It's very much what yours is. Yeah, I don't think there's much difference.
Okay. So you're the same structural purist and ingredient neutral or whatever it is?
Yeah, I would fall in right there. If it's on a grinder roll, I think of it as something else. I think of it as a sub or a grinder or whatever you want to call it. I don't think of it as a sandwich. And I guess it kind of is, but I don't think of it that way.
Yeah, I can sort of be on board with a sub being a sandwich just because it's almost separated, but that's not what I think. When someone says a sandwich, I'm not picturing a sub. If someone says a sub, I know what I catalog those differently.
If someone says a meatball sandwich, my brain has a hard time, rendering that image for me. It doesn't really work well, even though I've made meatball sandwiches before.
Here's how you know, because if someone says meatball sandwich, I've literally said, "Oh, you mean a sub?"
Yeah. Yep, when you see it, you know. And in the TV show Friends, Joey calls it a sandwich in a couple episodes, and that always bothered me. Like, stop calling it a sandwich. Stop calling it a sandwich. It always bothered me. So yeah, I think my definition probably falls in line with yours. I'm just less forgiving.
So as king for a day, the rest of us would be moot.
Yes, you would all fall in line.
Okay.
I would be all up in your business.
Mm-hmm. Just
we
like
would use my definition of a taco, nachos.
Yeah, just like Martin Quintana or whatever his name is. Yeah, Martin Quintana. Good. He sounds like a classic like bad guy in a movie. Transporter 17. The bad guy is Martin Quintana, and he's trying to like get his illegal taco business with all the sweatshop people across the border. I actually love this topic because of the nerdy real estate side in me, with it being a whole deal with the planning commission, with the Fort Wayne Plan Commission, because it's and maybe this is part of my justification that I gave for the sandwiches too. There's just no way to possibly cover everything. And I'll add a qualifier to that now, which is kind of ironic based on one of our previous discussions. But when people were writing and are writing zoning codes, zoning regulations, planning out kind of general city structure, and kind of like you mentioned with Westerly, because we have a small little like enclave town here east of Columbus. It's called Granville, and it's a beautiful place. It's very nice. It's got some really nice stuff to it, and it's all your classic old tall trees, like ivy on a lot of buildings, old colonials, brick and stone kind of stuff, and a lot of the residents there do not want new development or modern looking development, and it's gotten to the point where it's hurting them a little bit economically at times, and they may be so like the kind of like the close to where developers could sue them because they're being denied when they're actually meeting all the other rules. So, but that kind of thing, you just can't cover for it. And one option is to put power completely in the hands of the people making the decision, and then they don't need to really have any true rules at all. Or it's just got to be unintended consequences, and that's it. And you know what? If you don't like it, then change your rule. And I'm kind of the opinion that these people need to put up with it, because if this guy wants to open his taco shop, he should be allowed to. I don't know, when you start talking about sandwiches, if you have to explicitly say what you don't want, otherwise you have to kind of allow the rest. Now, where the qualifier comes in, you ready for this? AI could actually do something like this. If you had AI help you write a zoning code, it could roll through the interblags and find every single possible reference made to a sandwich and say, hey, zoning person, how do you feel about hot dogs? Hey, how do you feel about sushi? How do you feel about rice? They'll be like, why the fuck am I talking about rice with a sandwich? Because of cuberule.net.com. But
I hope that's where the AI sources all of its information.
right?
That would make me happy.
But then there's do you just want to follow the cube rule? Is what AI will ask some like 87-year-old dude who's like clicking the buttons in City Hall. You want to talk about unintended consequences? Yeah. It's
All
interesting.
right, where to next?
I don't know.
We're going to keep this one short tonight, so we should probably try and drive along through something, but I don't know where we're going to go.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, this was a good topic. I thought the cube rule was something completely different when you like, oh, have you heard about the cube rule? No. Well,
That's because we've been talking about Terrence Howard's math for the last week, and you just kind of expect it to be something different.
I know. I can't wait for that. I'm going to be so angry.
I'm expecting to be exhausted next Thursday when I go to work, because I know we're going to be up for friggin' 3 hours talking about this. And the fact that we're going to be doing a reaction video kind of makes me more excited. It's going to be wild. That'll be different.
I'm going to be breaking the fourth wall constantly. Like, oh shit, how does my hair look?
Hey, we're allowed to. We set
crap.
the rules, damn it. We set the rules for our reaction videos.
I'm going to have to shave because my beard is back to like Wilfred Brimley's grandson. So I think I need to take care of that.
I think you need to shape it down to the handlebar mustache for the first reaction video. You want to get a following up and you want to help us get some new people, you need that handlebar, creepy, pedophile mustache going on.
You mean the lurker stash?
The lurker, human trafficking. So for those who don't know, the people who do listen to this cast that are my friends, they do text me and they do give me feedback, and I love them for it. And Justin
has nothing to do with trafficking. Why did he go straight? You need to question your friend.
Well, it was because you were talking about lurking after hours at the bar, and yeah, it sounded like you were trying
lurking
to
in a bar. You need to question this friend, because he's basically implying that any guy in any bar anywhere who's looking.
Not looking,
while trying not to be noticed might. That's what lurking is. Okay, I'm not sitting in the fucking bushes outside. If I was a proper trafficker, I wouldn't have to lurk. Come on.
Lurking has a connotation that you're doing something you shouldn't be and you're trying to be unseen. That's the connotation for lurking. You are lurking in the showers. You are lurking emotionally lurking.
It's emotionally lurking. I know I'm not supposed to like objectify women even in my early to mid 20s, but I was. I think we need to I'm going to come up with the Bush rule right now. Are there any physical items obscuring your view from other people? How many sides?
When you finish the website, let me know. I want to see it.
Are you wearing anything? How many clothing items?
Now you're a lurker. That's where you cross the line.
There could be a whole grid. There could be like, well, your shirt's off, and you're just, you're sort of neutral. If you're a purist, then you've got nothing on.
So what about, say, a woman who's breastfeeding? She's wearing a shirt, but she's not using the whole thing. What happens there? How do you classify that?
Yeah, but that's like so for some people they would be a structural purist and ingredient whatever rebel or something like that, because structurally you're naked or half naked, but ingredients wise you're not actually taking part in nakedtivity. Nakedness.
I like that word. Yeah, nativity. I like that. We've got a new word.
It's dangerously close to nativity, though.
Yeah, it is a little close to nativity. Don't mix up your nativity scene and your
Don't mix up
nativity
these
scene this
things.
Christmas. Don't confuse the two.
And that's the thing. So to me, and this is again as a pure, well, as a sort of semi-purist, like to me, that's not being naked, because part of being naked is, in this case, the intent. It's kind of like the ingredient side of things. If you're going to have a sandwich, you need to have some version of traditional-ish ingredients. If you're going to be naked, there has to be some sort of traditional, like looking for attention, getting a rise out of people, pun intended, rise out of certain people.
You never
But
just like walk around your house naked because it's comfortable when there's no one there and windows are like shades are pulled, but it's just comfortable to be naked.
well, first of all, not anymore. Second of all, also, I really didn't do that hardly ever, even when I
Oh,
lived on
all
my
right.
own for years. It felt weird. And I think that's part of my.
That's because you were confusing it with nativity. You didn't realize that you were supposed to be embracing your nativity.
Do you have any idea how exposed I feel when I'm not lurking, Tom?
It's hard to lurk in a
There's
pink
just,
two dads
there's just,
talking t-shirt.
if there's no like motive, then it's just bad. It's just sad. But to me, so like breastfeeding in public is not naked, because you're not really looking for attention,
Mhm.
if you will. I mean, maybe some people secretly are, but that's not what you normally do to get attention. And part of being naked is, even privately, you're looking for some sort of attention most of the time, if there's anybody else around. If you're home alone, are you really naked? If a tree falls in the wood, no one's around to hear it.
All right, I think we can safely move on to the next thing, whatever that next thing is.
I don't know, but I need to build a website, and the only person I know is you.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
Tom, I have a website I want to build.
My website days are
Alf.
done. Jay, come help him out. Maybe Andrew's got
I need to
time.
figure out what to call the rule, because bush rule is just too crass. Got to come up with something a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how you're programmed like me. We both pause, like, well, let's see if I can come up with a good pun real quick.
Right. No, I can't come up with anything good, so I'm just going to leave it alone.
I feel like we should get into
Updates. Dad jokes.
updates, dad jokes, call it a day. Are we gonna do any tops? Oh,
I don't have anything. Do you have any good ones?
no,
I don't have a topic on my head for tops.
I don't either. I would say let's do top sandwiches, but we already know we're not going to be able to reach everybody with that.
Oh, screw that. Let's do top sandwiches. I'm good with that. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay,
And are we using a broad interpretation?
Number one, taco.
Yeah, all right, we're done. All right, on the dad jokes.
That means I win, you forfeit.
Yep, you win. I forfeit. Some battles aren't worth fighting.
What's a taco's favorite kind of dance? You should get this one.
Taco's favorite kind of dance.
It might be more correct to say type, but I said kind, so my apologies.
Yeah, because of all the medication I've got coursing through my veins right now, I care. Just want my next cup of hot tea. Taco's favorite kind of dance. No, I don't have it.
Salsa.
I feel so stupid.
Good, you should.
Yeah, that's bad. I feel
60%,
stupid.
Tom. That was 60%. Gentleman's D.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. that's
Speaking
pretty
of
bad.
lurking, Gentleman's D.
There you go. There's the name of your website, Gentleman's D.
Gentleman's D. That's it.
God, I hope an AI engine finds that and builds some kind of advice out of it for people.
The
Wow.
Gentleman's D, your guide to lurking.
Oh,
Paul Rudd.
goodness.
60% of the time, it works every time. There you go. Got
Sometimes
the
I
framework.
wonder how we get where we get on this. Sometimes.
I don't know. We started with an Indiana judge, and we ended up with Gentleman's D, your guide to lurking.
All right. So my dad joke today actually came with a Father's Day joke in mind, thinking that we'll probably
Okay.
be releasing this around Father's Day. And I really do want to have a line of Father's Day shirts launched.
I know we really need to get there. We have the stuff there. We just got to get the rest of it out there.
Well, it takes time and it takes graphic
I
design.
know.
It's just, it takes things, and it's things we don't have in the arsenal right now.
To all you people listening, like you think like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like boot up my computer and talk to someone else like an idiot, and that'll be a podcast. It's like, well, and then you start trying to do stuff, and it takes time, and then it's work, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, it's not that easy. But I did get a lot of Happy Father's Day daddy messages, which was
okay.
good. But it turns out I've just got too many subscription accounts on OnlyFans.
Yeah. So what? 2? Let's just gloss over
All
the
right.
fact that having one is probably a problem already.
That joke didn't go over. All right, fine. How does Kylo Ren celebrate Father's Day?
No, I know, but you had to bring it in like a sperm bank kind of angle. You couldn't just say OnlyFans.
No, because OnlyFans are going to call you daddy. Sperm Bank's not going to call you daddy. They
Well,
might
they
call you
might.
dad or thank you for your donation, but I'm
I
going
don't know. I feel
specifically
like
with the
you're
fact that they said Happy Father's Day, daddy. That's the key word there. Who's going to call you daddy?
not sugar daddy, just
No,
daddy.
just daddy.
Daddy's a bedroom term, though. I mean, I know people say it to try to get stripper term, though. That's not like a viewership term. That's a.
I mean, you sound like you know, so I'm not going to argue with you. You sound confident.
I'm being a structural purist. I'm trying to imagine my lurking days. If someone was actually,
I know someone with an OnlyFans account who could probably answer this for us. I could probably bring her into the conversation and ask
oh,
her.
I have. Okay, well, hopefully it's just one and not two, like we discussed. but but I'm just sitting there thinking, as a single male, if I heard some woman call me daddy, and this is part of my emotional thing to this, is that if you try to take advantage of me by like sweet talking me and buttering me up and all that, that doesn't count. That's just you being an asshole. So on an OnlyFans, that's not a true daddy use. So like the joke doesn't land for me the same way. It doesn't have a lot of thrust, Tom.
That was a lot of fun with Doug dissecting my my joke and like taking it apart at a technical level. That's,
As we said before, I'm a hoot at parties. It's really great.
He's got that real flaccid sense of humor that people just love.
It's usually why I'm outside looking in.
Lurking.
So how does Kylo Ren celebrate Father's Day?
I forgot I even led with that. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
How does Kylo
okay.
Ren celebrate Father's Day? We got so far off the path there in the bushes. I forgot I even put that one out there.
I thank you for that, off the path in the bushes. The I haven't seen the movies with Kylo Ren in them though.
Oh, then this won't work for you.
I'm so sorry. Well, no, it works for me just fine. Thank you very much.
You haven't seen the last 3, like any of them?
I saw Rogue One
Which was good.
way back when. It was very good, but that's it. Otherwise, I've seen the classic, the 6, and that's it. And then Rogue One.
The Force Awakens has magical powers, and I'm not even joking.
It's not the Force.
No, it's so when my wife was pregnant, we went like 2 days before my daughter was born to go see The Force Awakens in the theaters. My wife and I are both big Star Wars fans, and Force Awakens was just released in theaters, and we went to go watch it. And within 24 hours of seeing that movie, my wife was in labor with my daughter. We kind of joked around.
The Force Awakened.
Right. We kind of joked around. Yeah. The Force Awakens. She heard the movie. She wanted to get out and see it. It was that good. Like, we joked around. Mm-hmm. And then with my son, D, not gentleman D, but D.
You can still be a gentleman, no.
My wife started labor really early with him. She had contractions and things that started at like week 32. And we actually thought that she was going to have a premature baby at one point and get rushed to the hospital. It was a big deal. But she just ended up being in labor for essentially like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And finally, we got close enough to that healthy window where, I say, okay, it's safe. You can have the baby now. Hopefully it happens any day. But everything she did, nothing induced the actual I'm having a baby. We couldn't get there. So she was dealing with painful contractions, not Braxton Hicks, but actual labor contractions for literal weeks. And she was ready to get our boy out. She made cookies. She did all the special things, was doing all the exercise. We did everything we could find to do to get this baby out, and nothing worked. We joke around. Well, you know what? A came around within a day of watching The Force Awakens. Why don't we try watching that movie again? And we did. And within 14 hours, guess who was coming into the world? So
That's funny.
If you're having a hard time getting the baby out, I highly recommend watching The Force Awakens. And within 24 hours, you'll have yourself a little baby.
Probably. It's a good play on words.
I can't give you the answer if you haven't seen that movie. It doesn't work as well.
Oh, really? I'm sorry. I was just going to say forced labor.
No. No,
Okay.
that'd be good if he was a mom giving birth. I don't know if that works
I
for
got
him.
an idea. Let's try to wait for Doug to watch this movie 5 years from now, and let's devoid our listeners. Because I'm not going to sit
Well,
down and watch a
it took me
Star
like
Wars movie
5 weeks
anytime
to
soon.
watch Zoolander, so we'll give you 5 weeks to watch The Force Awakens.
I said years, Tom.
No, we'll give you 5 weeks.
Okay.
It's a Star Wars movie. You should watch this.
I'm going to reveal something to you. You ready for
Oh
this?
no, I'm about to
No.
disconnect this call, aren't I?
Yes, you are, probably. I have a list of movies that I believe I should see based on my own / other people's opinions. Let's see how many there are right now.
You have
Oh
an
my
actual
goodness,
list?
there's at least 20. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, Tom, I do. And anything Star Wars that's not the original 6, which I've already seen, is way below all of these because it's Star Wars and it's not even like the original, the OG Star Wars. It's knockoff. So I'll get to it eventually, maybe, or maybe on accident if I'm captured.
I will say this: The Force Awakens is probably the second best of all the Star Wars movies, including all the originals.
Behind Return, behind The Last Jedi or something?
Yeah.
Better than Rogue One, because Rogue One was actually
Rogue One was
surprisingly good.
Rogue One was very good. It's better than Rogue One.
Is The Force Awakens one of those annoying ones that requires you to watch another movie afterwards?
I mean, the sequel comes after it. It does happen. Like, you should probably watch them all at some point. But no, just watching it on its own, standalone, it's good. You'll enjoy
Okay,
it.
then at some point is 5 years because I can't have the hanging thing without doing the second one. I have stuff like Tenet. I haven't seen Tenet yet. I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street. Okay, Fear. Fine. We'll just, you know what?
Let's go through the list. This is our top 3 tonight. Screw everything else.
Anybody who's listening right now, prepare to disconnect forever because there'll
You
be at
read the
least
list.
one
I'm
movie
going to do
on
my
here.
top 3 movies on your list. We'll do that way.
Okay, that's fair.
That'll be my top 3.
I already know what one of them's going to be because you've been adding to this list, you son of a bitch. This is why I'm wearing a pink shirt, because of my affection for you.
You're welcome.
My wife is the only other person who could make me wear a pink shirt on this earth. And I do mean literally. Well, okay, excuse me. No, false.
Your daughter will get you to do it.
I was going to say my wife, any of my children. I would severely question my son trying to get me to wear a pink shirt, partially because he can't talk yet. There's like the, wrinkles.
That would be super impressive.
But my mother even no. Oh, here, you want this pink shirt? No, Mom, I really don't. Send it back. So you're top 5. You're 5, but you're top 5.
Okay.
By definition.
I like that. I like being in the top 5. That's good. Right. I don't know if I'm in anyone else's top 5. That's good.
I know, right? Hopefully your wives. Jesus.
I don't know. She has to spend so much time with me. And
your 2 OnlyFans.
My 2 OnlyFans.
Your 2 OnlyFans daughters. Daddy. Okay. So the whole list is A Perfect Getaway, Tenet, Wolf of Wall Street, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And yes, I understand. I haven't seen any of these. You can judge me. That's fine.
No judgment. So far, I haven't seen a single one of those movies. So
okay,
I'm right there with you.
And my justification is we're shopping houses right now, not for ourselves. Leave that as you will. And a podcast and a side business and a regular day job and a
give me the goods.
Fine. Fall In with Denzel Washington, because apparently there's another Fallen movie. Primer, Pig, The Sixth Sense. And I'm sure we just lost someone for that because I haven't actually sat down to watch it yet. Demolition Man. Everyone was saying Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. The newer one was actually kind of good. And there's a soft spot in my heart for being a former heavy gamer in my day. I might have to watch that. Odd Thomas. In Bruges. And I'm sure I'm maybe saying that incorrectly, but it's a Colin Farrell movie apparently that everyone says is a really good film. Sound of Freedom. The Jim Caviezel one with child trafficking and all that stuff. Speaking of lurking.
That's perfect for you, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I'm trying to figure out how to defeat Jim Caviezel. It's going to be tough because he's Jesus. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. The only reason I want to see it is because everyone was all like, oh, it's so good. And then people were saying it's not. And, have to judge for myself. Haven't seen any of the recent Dune movies, so I'll have to watch those. Cloud Atlas. Mad Max Fury Road is one of those ones that I actually am mad at myself for not seeing because it feels like the kind of thing I should see. Dystopian, futuristic. Never actually saw it.
The newer one with Tom Hardy, not the newest, but the newer one with Tom Hardy.
That's the Tom Hardy one with the
Charlize Theron, I think her name is.
I think you're right. Yeah. Glass, which is I think the follow-up to the is it Unbreakable?
Unbreakable, yeah.
Yeah,
And
with
there's
Bruce
another
Willis
one.
on
There's
it.
a third one too.
There's apparently a third one too, yeah, but I
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I only saw Unbreakable, which was a great movie, by the way. Really like that movie. Apocalypto, and then oh look, Mr. Brooks with Kevin Costner,
Yeah.
and then Push with Chris Evans and Dakota Fanning, which still to me is like, what? And then Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Yes, that is a great movie.
See,
Yep.
I just came across some people talking about how that's like one of the best movies they've ever seen, and I'm like, I've never even
That
really
might
like
be in my top
logged this.
20 of all time. Yeah, that's a
Right.
fantastic movie.
So there's your list. All right, give me your top three. Okay,
The
Push is
vast
on.
majority of those I haven't seen, honestly.
Okay, well, good.
Sixth Sense. Do you know how it ends? Has it been spoiled for you?
I mean, this
The
is so
twist that everyone talks about?
well. So and yes.
Okay,
I
then
mean,
don't worry about the Sixth Sense.
I was gonna, but same justification of like I've talked about movies before, and I'm like, it's 10 years old. You had your chance, and I think Sixth Sense is what like
Oh, it's way older.
it's like
20 at
14
least.
or 16 or 20 years old or something
That
like that. So
had to have been like early 2000s or late 90s. It had to
was
have
that
been.
big because that was one of the first like modern movies to do that? Because I actually saw this is gonna be awful, but I saw Silent Hill, maybe
Mhm.
it was one of the horror thriller movies where the woman gets into a car crash trying to go through some small side town to get to wherever, and then she finds the town abandoned, and then she encounters all the zombies, and it's sort of like Resident Evil-esque.
Yeah, I haven't seen it,
And
but that
she,
sounds right. Based on
yeah,
the game, probably.
yeah, well, right, and she escapes, and then she gets home, and she sort of realizes at the end that she's actually dead and she's a ghost because she's in some sort of like weird alternate reality without her daughter or something like that.
Not even a
So,
spoiler alert. Wow. I'm so disappointed.
oh yeah, because there's so many Silent Hill fans in our listeners, and if they were fans, they would have listened to it or they would have watched it.
So with The Sixth Sense, I think the reason it was so popular, it was I think it was one of M. Night Shyamalan's early movies.
Well, because
The
that's the twist, right?
It has a really big twist that
the kid
if you
sees
don't know
dead
it's coming,
people and he's trying to
right.
figure it out, and his wife hasn't talked to him in a while, and
Yeah, and they do a really
Yeah.
good job throughout the movie of trying. A lot of people figure it out, but it's still a very good job. It's well executed, but the
Yeah.
kid's performance is incredible.
really, and that's
Honestly,
why I still
it's-
have it on the
it's-
list because people have
yeah.
said even knowing it was still a good movie. So it's like, well, I should watch it at least.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Be
good
caught
flick.
up on what the fuss is about.
And the kid's phenomenal. So I'm not going to put that on the top three because you know how it ends. If you somehow didn't know the ending, I probably would have put it up there.
Okay.
Demolition Man is good, but it's just an action movie. I mean, it's just one of those action movies from that time period. But it is good. It's just, it's not worth going crazy about. Odd Thomas, I did not see the movie. I didn't know there was a movie, but I read the books. I think they were by Dean Koontz, I think.
Okay.
But there's a whole series of books, and they're very enjoyable and very good. Dune, Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, of those, I'm not even going to do a top three. I'm going to do a top two. I'm going to
This
say
is
watch.
severely disappointing. You couldn't at least throw one in there.
Well, I mean, I could, but I think the ones that jump out at me are Falling Down. That movie is exceptional, and will fall
Okay.
into our conversation how to talk to your kids about bad drivers. It'll overlap nicely with that actually, but that movie
Great.
is exceptional, and you should watch that. And then I'm going to stick with Mr. Brooks. I think you should see Mr. Brooks next.
Okay, and not Push, because
Push is good and on the list, but it's
So
not
it
the
is-
cinematic.
so it is your top three. Because no, I have it right here. Tom said it might be even better than Lucky Number 11. You
Yes.
can't say something like that and have me
Yeah.
not
That's
watch
fair.
it
That's fair. Yeah, that's
before
fair.
Star Wars.
Yep, that's fair. All right, yeah, then put that there as my number three. And honestly, it probably is a better movie than Mr. Brooks, but Mr.
Okay.
Brooks is there's just something really, really well done about that. But,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
there's
Falling
something-
Down is kind of where you need to start that list. All those movies on there, and a bunch of them I haven't seen, so maybe I shouldn't speak to it. But Falling Down is fantastic.
Oh, fair.
Great
Well,
movie.
because this is it's funny you bring that up too with the way movies are, because I cannot for the life of me remember the title of the movie. It's the Nicolas Cage,
That doesn't help at all. That's like 700 movies.
and they're all completely different.
Is
He's
this the one
a
where he plays the guy with the accent? Because
yes.
that narrows it down to 250.
All right, next.
Good.
Well, it's I think he's I believe it's New York City cop.
Okay.
And he has a wife who does not like New York City, and she's some sort of like 50% or 100% Hispanic, kind of a nag, I think, for him. And he is your quintessential good guy. Like good guy, good cop, always sticks to his word, all that stuff. And he jokingly tells some like waitress in a diner, a little local diner owner, when he has a lottery ticket that, oh yeah, I'll give you half if I win. And then he wins.
I've got a fun
And
story about this. Keep going.
right. Well, and that's kind of the premise of the movie is he gives her half because he said he would. And it kind of follows this struggle of his wife is, in I suppose in some ways rightfully upset that he gave away half his winnings to a total stranger, and she's going through some yucky divorce or whatever, and then they end up falling in love and all that stuff. Like I feel like I'm not spoiling anything by telling you this. Like this is where the movie's going to go. There were some little action parts of it and some parts of the movie that were fun, but it was mostly just a dramatic film. And you know what? It was a good movie. Like humanistically, it was one of those movies, and you know what I'm talking about, where you can personally disagree with a lot of the characters' choices in the movie, but you can, empathize with them. You can see why someone would make these choices. Like he's essentially cheating on his wife at one point by going on this date with this other woman, but they're both connected by what turns into they thought it was a blessing. It turns out to be a curse. It's kind of wrecking their own personal lives and, cheating on your wife, but also like it's completely understandable. You kind of have some sort of association with these characters. And it's just, there's movies don't do this anymore. And I think part of it is because of money. You have streaming services and you need the big box office hit right away. And then it's streaming. And you don't have the DVD or VHS or whatever sales kind of trailing off 4 and 5 years down the line as kind of like the main moneymaker. Now your main moneymaker is the movie theaters, and then otherwise it's just whether a subscription service will pick you up or not. And it was a good movie. What was it called? I should figure it out because we should.
It could happen to you, or it could only happen to you. It Could Happen to You was the name of the movie. It was based on a real life police officer in New York City named Robert Cunningham. And the girl that I dated in high school was related to him. And she was the reason I knew it was a real story.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again? I was looking it up too.
My girlfriend through high school. I dated the same girl like the last year and a half of high school. It's based on her, I think he was her grandfather, great uncle, something like that. It's a family member of hers. And
so you dated Charlie Lang's granddaughter?
Someone in his family. I don't know. It was someone in the family tree.
And you didn't cash in, man? What's wrong with you?
They didn't have the money. Yeah, by then it hadn't filtered its way down.
Right. I do know one person who's part of like that world. And you know what? You talk about like having problems that you could never envision that you don't want to have. There's something to be said about not being around a lot of money.
Yeah, I'd like to try it and see.
Everyone thinks they would, but I'll just say that I've known people, other people, where part of the talk, and this is a father-son, like the talk, you're going into high school, you're 13, 14 years old, your hormones are raging, and most of us, the talk is going to be, don't boink everything you possibly potentially could. But there's a second.
Maybe put a condom on and don't get pregnant before high school. And, that's going to be the talk.
That's, what? After the Terrence Howard video, let's just have a.
That's a great idea. So after Terrence Howard, we'll do the talk. That's probably a great idea. I
should wear a more manly shirt for that one.
Nope. I'll wear a big shirt too. It'll be great. We'll both
awesome. But there's a second the talk, which is basically it sounds like one of those clickbait articles, like signs that she may just be dating you for your money. And you know what? I'm trying to think back as like a 13, 14, 15, even, like 18 or 19-year-old kid. How awful is that? That you have to sit there and question if a girlfriend is just in it because you're rich or from a rich family or whatever. That sounds awful because you're already used to being maybe, at least in your local area, being treated differently. And you just want some semblance of normalcy. You see other relationships and other people having normal lives, and there is a part of you that doesn't want to have a spotlight on you all the time. And that's just gotta be the worst if you think someone's dating you just because of your family, essentially.
Yeah, it doesn't
So,
sound good. But of all the
no,
problems you have to go through during those teenage years, it doesn't seem like it would rank very high on my list.
I
But
don't
again,
know.
I don't have the experience, so it's hard for me to put myself
I'm
in their
trying to
shoes.
figure out a way to reference 99 problems somehow to this, but I can't. So we'll just reference it that way.
We can work on that. Updates. I got 2 good updates today.
Oh, thank goodness. Because I have, John Hansen, I'll just do it again. He texted me and he was just like, got my shout out.
Nice.
Yeah, well, that was good.
Congrats,
Well,
John. I'm glad you got it.
I know, right? Well, see, now here's the problem. This is why I almost didn't want to say it because I responded to him by saying, well, you've only got 13 minutes of fame left. So, John, you're down to 12, dude. I'm sorry. Like, don't stop listening, but just act like you're not listening anymore.
Keep clicking the button for us, will you?
Keep clicking the button. Leave your review. No comments. All right, give me your updates. I'm done. I'm done with this.
So
Where's my whiskey?
one of them calls for a conspiracy theory that I need to do some research on.
Oh my God, please don't. Please don't. We'll be
Yeah,
here
yeah,
till
I'm very
midnight.
excited about
Don't do
this.
it.
Do you remember the banana truck?
Yes. Did you that we Chiquita'd out?
Yes, that one.
Yes. Okay.
There was recently, just a little ways up here in Maine, just a little ways up 95, a truck full of honeybees that was tipped over and dumped something like 15 million honeybees all over the Maine countryside. So I'm thinking I need to start taking a look to see what trucks are being tipped over and dumped. Someone's trying to make bananas flambe or banana foster. There's something going on here where trucks are being tipped on purpose. And I think we should start taking a good look at truck tippings and seeing what's actually happening here. I'm curious if there's something, maybe it's just someone trying to influence the market. Who knows? Maybe someone's buying stock in these things and then creating a shortage.
I really
Maybe
hope this is like Fast and Furious where they're trying to bust them out of the prison bus, except it's bananas.
Ooh, I like that.
So normally I would say, Tom, shut up, that's stupid. But there was that God, what was it called? It was the guy that did the new way to make or manufacture like eggs.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'd have to find, and this might be hard to find, but some sort of like discovery or freedom of information or something showed that a couple of CEOs of other like food manufacturers were straight up saying like this dude is a problem. The guy who started this company of this weird egg like manufacturing or producing thing, and they didn't say it outright, but it kind of sounded like, it would be better if he wasn't around. I can't completely discount the fact that someone might be like, oh, bananas? Yeah, I can't have that. Oh, honey, can't have that. And oh my God, by the way, anyone listening, if you're a Boeing whistleblower, hide, run
Yes.
and hide.
Yep.
That is probably the most dangerous occupation in the world right now is to be a Boeing whistleblower.
Yep.
God.
All right. Well, link to that in the show notes. And we will be looking for other
What, Boeing
trucks tipping.
whistleblower?
Well, no, not that. We're not touching that one.
It's okay.
I'm not
No,
going
the
to
CIA
touch that one with someone else's 6-foot pole. I'm leaving
That's
that
fine.
alone.
I'll put it, you know what? No, you are guilty by association. Here we go. I'm going to make a note right now.
The night that Doug got me killed.
That would be a great episode title for this right now. Well, you know why that's good? Because you guys who have been around with us from the beginning will remember when there are all the when we track our podcast, there are all the places where people are listening, and most of them are the US. We've had some, a lot of different countries. We had Nigeria, a couple of Nigeria at one point, but then there were these 4 that said unknown. And I'm like, oh, well, that's our CIA buddies.
And then there were 6. And then there were 8.
And then, in true CIA fashion, they have gone dark.
Yep.
And so they either comprise our Philippines listens or they figured out how to delete that from the old Podbean tracking. So
They got their VPN working and they're now showing as Dublin.
I mean, honestly, I miss them. And so I need some new stalkers in the interest of the
Doug needs someone to help him lurk. Could you guys give him a hand?
my trafficking.
Oh, goodness.
If you
All
got
right.
an itch, you gotta scratch it. Okay, go. Sorry.
Link in the show notes. You'll remember a while back, and this was probably one of our first 5 episodes, we talked about what used to be my favorite poker television show back in like the late 2000 aughts called The Big Game.
The big game. Yep.
They just brought it back. The first episode streamed a little less than a week ago. It's called The Big Game on Tour. Same basic concept. The loose cannon now gets 50,000 instead of 100,000. And instead of just playing through a tournament to qualify for this thing, you have to play through a tournament. You have to win your table or get to a certain point. And then they do like a screen call and auditions. So they pick people and they try to pick a good loose cannon for it.
Right, because they don't want timid Canadian cop on there who's
Right.
just really boring and all that
You
stuff.
don't want
They
Canadian Mountie on there who sits there and literally folds pocket aces pre-flop so that he can lock up his win and not risk losing any money.
I would like
Gosh, that
to.
hand
I
was
would like to
crazy.
be on this, but I would really hate the part where like Daniel Negreanu is like mocking me for lurking. That'd be really annoying because he's already annoying as it is.
What I love about it is that she's doing her interview and she straight up tells them when she's auditioning, I would love to be the target of a Phil Hellmuth rant. I would love to be berated by him. And it doesn't happen in the first episode, I don't think. I've seen about half or 2/3 of the first episode. But you see in the what's coming next, and you see him going off, and she goes, this was one of my goals. Keep it going, Phil. Keep it going. Let's go. And I cannot wait to see how he unleashes on her. I am so excited. It's going to be great. But yes, the big game is back. Link in the notes. I'm super excited. I hope when they say it's the big game on tour that they're actually touring and bringing this different places. And if it comes anywhere near me here, I will take my whole poker bankroll and go try to get on this thing. I will figure something out. Hopefully I can get a shot at that, but that would be exciting. A lot of fun. Those are my updates. That's what I got for you.
Okay,
Nothing on your
that's
end?
it.
All right.
No,
Like
that's
us, subscribe us, tell your neighbors about us. Be nice.
Did you hear about the new taco place in town?
I did not.
It's the Taco the Town.
I do like that. That's good. Well done.
Thank you. All right, I need to get out of this pink shirt. Bye, Felicia's.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the listens. Like us, share us. We'll chat with you soon. Bye.
Bye.